I grew up confused about my culture and identity and felt out of place most of the time until I found comedy, which forced me to be honest with myself, and I realized mostly I'm just an expat brat. Welcome to my show. I'm Salman. All right, people, let's get this show on the road. We ain't got time left in this year or this month. We're halfway through August, and things are not heating up. They're still heating up. Things are heating up, but mostly by that I mean the weather. Anyway, I'm up to my neck and tired and sick of people coming up to me and going, asking me stuff about ADHD or passing comments. All right, for those of you who don't know, I've talked about this in my previous episodes, but I was diagnosed with ADHD and I take some medication for it. And I can guarantee you it makes my life a lot better. It makes me better. It makes my life a lot better. And before you guys go into the whole diagnosis and stuff, look, this is the reason I'm doing this is because I get into these conversations with people and they all sound similar. And they all kind of go like this. You know what? Let me just recreate it for you so you can feel what I feel in these conversations.
Hey man, Salman, have you heard about how everybody's going around and saying they have ADHD? It is so stupid.
I don't know. What do you mean by everyone's going around saying they have ADHD? I don't think so. What? What do you mean by that?
No, man. Everywhere you look, everybody's claiming they got it. Like all my friends, every single friend, everybody says the same thing. Oh, I got ADHD now. What does that even mean?
What? It means possibly, that they actually do have ADHD. I mean, I don't know why they would just go around saying that. Why do you think they would do that?
They don't have it, man. It's just, they all want to just be part of this new cool trend and just want to do it and stuff. And I don't think they all have it. Like every single friend of mine has ADHD now.
It sounds like a little bit of hyperbole. Like, I don't think every single friend of yours has it, right? Yeah?
I think, all right, look, you get what I mean, right? Like, they go around and it's just a made-up thing, man. It's just, like, they all just want to get on medication and stuff and blah, 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 and blame ADHD for everything they do.
Well, listen, I don't think... There might be a minority that might do that. I don't know. But we got to have a little bit more compassion. Like I'm telling you, man. Like it made a huge difference to me. When I got on medication. And I agree with you. I don't think medication is the only answer, but it starts helping you to get diagnosed and stuff. And come on, I mean hyperbole. Like not every single person in your life probably had that, right?
Well, it just seems like that now. So, like every single person. What are you talking about, man?
Okay, look. It probably you feel like a lot more people are talking about it and saying it, but just so you know, that's probably because there's more awareness, dude. Like I didn't know my whole life what that might be. I could never put it into words or understand. I just thought everybody's like me in terms of the pain, but sometimes I wonder how they find certain things easy. That's all it is.
Listen, Salman, you don't have it. Okay, you don't have it. Like it's like look at you. You manage a job. You got a family. How can you have it?
All right, look. Just because someone is okay in life, God, it doesn't mean they don't have some kind of problem. So that's what it is. That like everybody, you can have something and still be functional or intelligent in some areas. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Like, if it's such a thing, it's probably just a gift. You gotta stop making it a problem.
All right, look, listen. If it was a gift, honestly, I'd return it. Like, tell me where. Like, do you have the receipts for it? Because I would love to just go into a store and return that shit and not have it. All right. So, look, what is your problem with it?
My problem with it is because everybody has it, man. How can everybody have it? It's a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Okay. All right. It's a real thing. And let's talk about something else because look, my ADHD kicked in, and this bug on the floor is more interesting to me right now. Yeah, that's those are the common things I get put up with. I have to put up with, and some people even go like, back in my day, people didn't have ADHD, and you just got to whack it out of these kids and stuff. And I just go, oh my god, like the lack of compassion in people about something. The problem is, I get it. Like it's like one of those invisible disorders. I'm not limping because of my ADHD. I'm not, I don't know, like stammering because of my ADHD. So it's easier to dismiss, but it's an actual thing, all right? And if you suspect it for yourself or you struggle with certain things, whether it's ADHD or not, dude, you got to go get yourself checked, all right? Like, there's no harm. We're way past that. If you're as old as me, get yourself checked. You know what? Even if you don't suspect a thing, go to a doc and get your mind checked. Because the day and age we live in, yes, there's a lot more screen time and everything. So everybody lacks a little bit of focus. But if you actually do have something and you get it properly treated, I guarantee you it's going to make things better for you rather than not. All right. So that's my whole problem with people talking about ADHD and calling it, like, just saying it just needs to be smacked out of you or something like that. One of the worst advices I've had is people going, you should write it down. You should write down things. The reason it's terrible is because I tried it. And then I started writing in one notebook. And then because I forgot to keep that on me, I got another one. So I started writing in that one. Then I found the other one and went back to writing in the other one. Then I thought, oh, it might be smart if I kept two things separate between professional and personal, or, even other segments of my life. So pretty soon I had like 3-4 books that I was writing in. And then I lost one of them. So I went back to 3. And then eventually it was all spread out. And I made sure I wrote it, but then I forgot which book I wrote what. And then I would forget to check each book. So I would see the thing later and go, oh, I never got around to doing it. And then eventually I lost all the books and I started writing on scraps of paper. Yeah, that's usually how it goes for me. So that's the kind of thing that happens. And then people are so scared of medicine, I think there might be, again, like a minor population that abuses the whole thing, but everybody gets included into it. For most people, medication's a good support to get you back on track and stuff. And God help us, the older you get, the more pressure you have on your life, and the more you're just dismayed about everything. You're going through your 30s and late 30s, early 40s, and you're looking back at everything and going, oh God, I thought my life would turn out better and I'd be better at doing these things. And you look at all the awful choices you made and decisions you took, and it's a spiral, man. So while you're going through all of that, a little bit of medicine will probably get you back on track. If you have ADHD, it doesn't work. For the others, it doesn't work if you don't have ADHD, and please don't take it. It's not some super drug that'll cure you and make you super focused or whatever the hell you think it does. All right. So the meds thing, and especially as they've developed, I'm on something called Concerta. Again, I'm not a doctor. Get yourself checked. But for me, Concerta works really well. It's a slow release. It takes me through the whole day. No side effects. Just helps me function better, and it has been a big gift to me. So and then people go, how do you know you have ADHD? That's another one. That's a good question though, right? Like, I think the way you have hunger and you realize that there's some symptoms and you get a feeling and you start realizing there's something going on, that's the similar with ADHD. You start looking at the common problems in life that ADHD people have, and you'll be shocked how similar the issues are, and it's a pattern. And that's another way of kind of figuring it out. So eventually you do. Look, some people will always not believe it, and I'm done arguing with everybody. But for those of you who have not understood it, you won't if you don't have ADHD. It's like me trying to understand someone's life with
one leg. I just can't really get it, So just give it a break. But the bigger one that I have a problem with is not just ADHD. There's a similar track on, or rather feeling around autism in kids. And I get the same conversations that you just heard earlier. In fact, it's worse because you know what? Let me recreate a common conversation that I have with people. One of the biggest problems I have with them. And so you can feel what I feel.
Hey, Salman. Hey, man, what's going on? Every kid is autistic now.
Do you not have another voice you could do?
What? What are you talking about?
Well, this character that you just... This actually is for the listeners. I'm just talking to myself to this character I created about... You could have done a different voice.
Why are you breaking the third wall?
All right, you know what? You're right. Let's just stick to the conversation. We'll work on characters and voices later. What did you say about autism again?
Every single person has it now. I think these doctors and these parents shouldn't be labeling their kids so quickly. It's so stupid.
All right, listen. I don't think any parent wants to go around labeling their kid as autistic. It's not a fun trend. It's not something I do for joy. I'd rather not have it. I'd rather my kid doesn't have it. It affects my life quite a lot. Do you know what I mean?
No, man. You come on, man. Like everybody. How do you even know if it's real?
All right, we're not going down that way. It's just goodbye. The autistic thing is just weird on a whole different level. These guys, I've been told, like, don't call your kid autistic. Don't label him, and the problem, you don't understand. Like, you don't live with a kid who has autism. He's a great joy. Yes, there's a whole spectrum of kids of autism, and so each one has their own difficulties. Some kids are more extreme. My kid isn't. And that's helpful. So he's developing well. He's very intelligent in a lot of ways. But if I hadn't known and I hadn't sought help at the right time, I've seen other kids where it has affected them. And so you got to be careful about these things and not dismiss them, man. All right, just don't do that with people. If you don't know anything about it, like, just read up on it. Go spend some time with someone who's going through it. And you'll understand it better, all right? The key word, compassion, okay? Oh, God, the internet really ticks me off about these things. And that's all I wanted to say about the autistic thing. Like, it's an actual thing. It is something. Maybe there's some truth to, like, kids after COVID and stuff. They're like, Zion's class has more autistic kids by chance. I don't know what it is. I've heard more. My cousin's kid, very close to my own kid's age, has it. And I think autism was probably already there. My personal, the only thing I can understand is probably the COVID stuff and everything, and screen time exaggerated for these kids a bit more than it might have. But even that's just something I think about sometimes. Regardless, it's a thing, and it happens, and no one, if you don't own up to it. I've seen some parents who don't acknowledge it or don't want it to be labeled and whatnot. It doesn't mean that's all your kid is, but it's a huge part of sorting things out. The general theme being, you got to acknowledge the problem that's there, and then you can deal with it better. All right. This whole thing of, like, ignoring it, I can't believe we're even there anymore, because we have come really far where mental health and everything was a stigma and no one understood it or talked about it. And I think back all these people who probably had it and lived their lives. I've been mean to people like that and or impatient at the very least, and I just look back at it and go, oh my God, I was an idiot. And so it's even more important that we kind of learn to acknowledge it. All right, do you understand what I'm saying? If you okay, so those are two things that just keep in mind. Keep an open mind. Don't like shut people down when they go, it's just a trend or whatever, because there's a lot more to it. And I'm dealing with these two things. There's a lot of other stuff out there that we just don't get, man. What does it matter to you
even if everyone is claiming to be ADHD. Even if it was all fake, what is the actual advantage those people are getting? It's not like everybody becomes famous because you claim to be ADHD. I don't exactly know what your problem would be, even if everyone was single-handedly faking it, because it doesn't really affect your life, right? Yeah. As I say this out loud, it makes sense to me. This is why I podcast. Thank you for listening to me on this journey. Yeah. Anyway, I was supposed to be flying to Beirut, and the day I got my visa, which was really cool, I found out that I can't I can't fly anymore, because there was like this whole thing that went down. If you don't read the news, live under a rock, then you won't understand what I'm saying. But I think 99% of us will do. And it was a hard call. I kind of still wanted to go. I wanted to go to Beirut. I love the city. I've been once only, but I wanted to explore it more this time. I had planned it so I could stay. I had some work, and then I'd stay back, do some gigs, and see the place properly this time. So I had this whole great plan. I've been looking forward to it all year, ever since I knew that Beirut was coming up this year. It's not completely canceled. We're going to have to postpone it, but I don't know till when, right? So it's disappointing. But I love my Lebanese friends. I spoke to them. I was like, hey, are you still planning to go ahead? Because a couple of them were flying around the same time. A few of them on the same week I was supposed to, which is next week. And they were all like, yeah, we're going. We're going to see what happens. We've got some stuff is going on as usual. They've got these parties, these weddings, I think some kind of national holiday as well coming up. And they're like, well, yeah, we're going ahead. We're making plans for it. And they're so gung-ho about life and stuff. And I guess after a while, what do, right? You might stop when the first bad thing happens. The second bad thing happens. And I know this from Pakistan as well. After a while, you're just like, man, we got to live our lives. And if something happens, it happens. You work that into your schedule. I have artist friends, fellow comics in Pakistan, who kind of go, yeah, we decide a live event. And then we kind of have to go, just keep it in mind that it might get canceled for some reason, like a strike or whatever. And that's such a crazy way to have to live. But they're used to it, I suppose. And yeah, that's the human resilience, I guess. So a lot of my Lebanese friends are just still heading off. You know what? Personally, I wasn't so scared about the danger of the place. I think I've been to places where, from the outside perspective, it seems a little more scary. Like even the UK right now, man. Who thought that Gary and Simon would be scarier names at this point, and kind of the kind of people you might want to be scared of at this point? But you kind of look at it from outside and you go, oh, that looks like everything's going down. It's being destroyed. And that's rarely the case. There are a few places like that. And I would, if you want to be cautious, you be cautious. But most of the time I'm like, it's going to blow off or something. I've been stuck in a few countries. Not stuck, but I happened to be there when something did go down. And it could have escalated. Like I said, most of the time it kind of doesn't go all the way, and you get out all right. That sounds crazy when I say it out loud. So they're going ahead. My biggest fear wasn't the danger aspect of it. My problem was, when flights start getting canceled. When that happens, then you're like, okay, now I love the place, but I don't exactly want to spend a couple of months there. COVID has kind of scared me about such situations. I've seen my mom trapped in a place as well for a while, with flights being canceled. And so that kind of stuff is quite worrying. And that was my main problem, because a lot of the airlines had already canceled the evening flights. And so I didn't know, that's the start. They were still operating day flights, and they said we intend to until something really goes wrong. They didn't say the second part, but it was implied in the tone they said it in. And yeah, so that was my thing. I was like, if flights get canceled, and I'm a total snob. I do not. It's not just snobbery. I just, what really scares me is bad flights, bad airlines, bad planes, small planes. I cannot do them anymore. As I grow older, roller coasters and small budget airlines. I just,
after a certain age, you should just be upgraded to better airlines and better planes. Like, it just should happen, and so if these big ones, the good ones, get canceled, then I don't know how I'm gonna get out from there. And like I said, I can't do the small planes. I'll take my chances in Beirut instead. I'll just sit there and party with the rest of the Lebanese people and live it up till whatever it is blows over. I guess. I wonder if I could make a living there on comedy. I don't think so. I don't think there'd be enough gigs happening at that point. I don't know. Well, it's all moot now because I'm not going right now, and my first half of the plan to go to Cairo is still on, which I'm looking forward to as well, because this time I'll have time to go see the new museum. Last time I went, I saw the old one, and man, it was just crazy. I've talked about it on my podcast last year when I went, if you want to find it and listen to it. But honest to God, the amount of stuff they have, it's just like lying around. It's lying around. Like, they have so much stuff, they could lose half of it, and I bet it would take them years to just notice that, we lost a lot of that stuff. It was just crazy how much history it is. I told this one guy, and he's like, he had this whole conspiracy theory about it going on. Maybe it's not real. Maybe it's just they can't really have preserved all of this and have so much of it. And I just thought, well, who knows, The crazy thing is they do, and it's quite interesting to see. I'm not a particular history buff, but even for me, it was quite very cool. And I just hope the weather's nice enough. But I'll get to see Cairo a bit better as well. I didn't see the pyramids last time, which is embarrassing. It's like, that's like their biggest draw, right? Like, they're like, it's like being in the 80s and you have a chance to see a wrestling match and you don't go watch the one with Hulk Hogan or Andre the Giant or the Ultimate Warrior. What was the point of you watching wrestling then if you didn't watch that stuff? It's a little sad though. Side note on the crap that this dude, what's his real name? Terry Hogan? Is it Hogan's his actual name? But his first name is Terry. I'm talking about Hulk Hogan and how crazy he's gone and how so much. Well, actually, not crazy. He's not just. It's just being exposed, right? The worst part about it was not the Trump stuff. It was pre that he when he busted, like, threw his friend, and this is at the peak of wrestling. He threw his friend under the bus. Another wrestler called not Ace Ventura, Jesse Ventura. Was that his name now? I'm forgetting. Why am I forgetting his name? This is so bizarre. I know his name. Yes, it is Jesse Ventura. He was the governor of some state as well for a while. Don't ask me that. That I don't know. And he threw him under the bus and, like, leaked some inside info about him, like, about wanting to unionize. So it's so horrible on so many levels because he's totally greedy about the money he'd make. Yeah, so I don't know why. So basically, going to Egypt and not seeing the pyramids felt like that. And this time, I will have time to check it out. So that's cool. I'm looking forward to that. Generally, I like the people there. I know Egypt, unfortunately, suffers from this image of, like, for a lot of people, like tourists, like, you have to be careful. Much like other tourist places, there's a lot of tourist traps and people trying to sell you and all that. And I've seen that in a few countries. But as long as you're aware of it and just smart enough to not fall for this stuff, it's all right, man. It's all right. The rest of it, it's all cool. So yeah, that's one of the stuff I'm looking forward to. I have been humbled lately. One of the things I've been preaching on and on about is going off social media. I did for a while, and then I had to come back on because I realized I did some gigs, and I realized I can't sell tickets. If you're not part of, like, one of the great comedy clubs in New York or LA or something, where the club draws an audience. There are very few comedy clubs like that. The scene's not developed enough out here for that. So the comics we need to bring people in. And I realize, even though I've been gigging longer than a lot of the New York comics here, I can't draw people in, man. Like, I mean, it's a struggle. Like, I really gotta, like, market the hell out of myself to do it.
And so these guys in different industries like marketing, digital marketing and whatnot, sat me down, friends, and they're like, "Listen, Salman, you gotta market it." And as an artist, I'm not against I think you should. You gotta put your work out there and market it. I just hate the fact that it has to be on social media, which is this area where it takes over the other parts of your life and almost ruins you as a person, destroys your mental focus and ability to function as a human being. Is that's the place, that's the device I need to use to market my gigs. And it's been tricky because the second I started downloading the apps onto my phone again, I completely wiped them off, right? As I downloaded them again, I can find my addictive nature coming back in, and I have to consciously put the phone away far from me so that I don't mindlessly just go through it, It's crazy. It's crazy the power it has on me. But there you go. I just realized I got to put stuff out there, and I do enjoy it. I love putting out like comedy sketches and videos and stand-up material. It's just extra work that I don't always have the time for, practically, especially when you've got a family and stuff. So that part's very tricky. But I'm trying to find that right balance, and I do love the podcast part. I mean, technically, this is also putting it on the internet and making it happen. So, we're trying to figure out life. We're trying to figure this thing out, especially because this isn't my biggest problem. Everything else, there's a lot of other stuff going around that is just so much more problematic. But yeah, man, this whole social media game, I just find it so hilarious.
All right, on that hilarious note, I'm going to bounce. I got things to do. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember what I said and take care of yourself. Till next time, people.
Thanks for joining us on another adventure with the Expat Brat, proudly brought to you by Capra Productions. If you enjoyed the show, please help us keep the mic running by clicking the link in the description and dropping as little as $3 to support us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest episodes.